Okay, welcome everybody. This is the special meeting of the Charter Revision Commission that was slated to start at 5:55. This is the intention of this meeting is because we had to add something and we could not modify the agenda once it was posted. So we've called a special meeting. This one will take a couple minutes and then we will end it and rejoin for the 6 o'clock meeting. Call to order. This is a Zoom only meeting. We have Tyler Fairbairn, Carl Dickens, John Levin, Rick McQuaid, Ed Camacho, Jim Clark, Tanya Rhodes Small. Doug Hempstead is not with us, and Joe Bennett may be joining us. That is everybody. We'll begin with an update from council. Steve, this was related to the question that was posed to the other commissioners, I believe.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chair. One of our commissioners raised a question about the status of another one of our commissioners. Commissioner Camacho serves on the BET, and she raised a question as to whether that posed a conflict of interest. I did a quick look at your code of ordinances, but I'm pretty familiar with ordinances addressing conflicts, and you have two different types of conflicts under the code of ordinances. You have personal conflicts and you have financial conflicts. This clearly does not fall into the category of a financial conflict. And so the question would be whether or not there's a personal conflict. And I did talk to the Corporation Counsel, and he agrees with my analysis, and that is there is no personal conflict in a member of another body serving on the Charter Commission any more than there would be with a council member serving on the Charter Commission. I've had many commissions where I've had members of the council, and they're not considered to be in conflict if they're voting on items that are dealing with the restructuring of the council, the budget process, where the council has, in some communities, has a lot to say about the budget process. And so it was my view, after taking a look at it and again examining it with the Corporation Counsel, with Mario, that there is no conflict and that there is no issue with Ed's participation or any actions that he has taken as a member of the commission.
Thank you, Steve. Does anyone have any questions about that? I thought it was pretty cut and dry once Steve was able to get in touch with Mario about it.
No questions.
Okay. So the second item on our agenda, this is discussion and action. I think everybody got the attachment that was with the agenda for this, but I was going to ask Steve to just give us a quick overview of this one. This is the council recommendation number 7 regarding modifying the charter to allow council BET membership through council action. Steve, would you like to just touch on that?
Yeah. After the last meeting, where both items regarding council representation were rejected, there were a number of conversations that took place with members of the council and members of our commission. And I think that there was a misunderstanding of the general issue of the council interactions with the Board of Estimate. The council interactions with the Board of Estimate are not as members of the Board of Estimate and Taxation, but as participants serving as invitees who may be able to spend some time at the beginning of a meeting raising issues with the Board of Estimate. But once whatever time is allotted to them is over, they don't get to engage in the deliberations or discussions with the Board of Estimate. And so in those discussions, I had raised the possibility of taking a third approach to the issue that was taken. It's all within the confines of recommendation number 7. And this would allow for the council to adopt an ordinance. If they adopt an ordinance, they would have the authority to designate a member of the legislative body to represent the council as an ad hoc non-voting member of the Board of Estimate and Taxation. They would be entitled to participate in all the proceedings of the board, and that the council president would appoint the representative subject to approval, by a majority vote of the council for a term commencing on the first day of February. I left the provision of what the term would be blank and would leave it up to the council to decide whether they want to do a 1-year term, a 2-year term, however they'd like to proceed with it. But the idea is to give the council the authority to add this member to the Board of Estimate. Without a charter provision, they could not do this. And so I proposed it as a way of providing for something that the council felt very strongly about and wanted to take slightly different approach to it. And that is the essence of the provision.
Yeah. May I have a comment or a question?
Sure.
When you say this is a slightly different approach, it's really to me it sounds like the same thing, sort of coming in through the back door. It's kind of one of the it raises the issue of the 2 bites at the apple thing that we spoke about at the last meeting. It's just it's another bite at the same apple, and that's the kind of thing that I think is likely to happen with a member of the Common Council having a formal place on the BET. One of the reasons that the BET is so respected in this town, rightly or wrongly, is because of its independence. And I think that you want to defeat, you want to have a question that go down in flames. It's going to be to add a member of the Common Council, albeit a non-voting member, on the BET, because there's the appearance that there is suddenly the appearance of a lack of independence, the type of independence that the BET has enjoyed over the many years that it's been in existence. I think it's one of the few entities in our government in Norwalk that I think most people feel positively about. I'm not saying that they don't feel positively about a lot of other departments or the government that we have in place at the moment, but it certainly it's viewed as an independent body. It has functioned independently, and this is really not a much of a different approach. I think to suggest that it's a slightly different approach is probably accurate, but it's not different. It's really the same thing. It's just going about it in a sort of a backdoor way. So, but it's also indicative of the kinds of a second bites at the apple that this situation is likely to engender were there to be a member of the Common Council on the BET.
I have a question about that comment. What is being bitten from the apple by this appointment? I'm confused. This is I think the proposal is for a non-voting position.
I think we voted on that before.
No. My question is, you said you view this as a second bite at the apple. Can you explain what you mean by that?
We'd voted on that before.
Question repeat. We voted on a
My
bunch
answer
of
is
things
not going to
before.
change. It's the same thing coming back to us, something that we voted on already.
Okay. You don't want to answer that? That's fine.
Well, that's my answer. You may not like the answer, but that's my answer.
Well,
John, I think
is
what he's
two
saying
bites
is
at
It's
the
that
not
apple.
much of an answer. I mean, come
John,
on. You can say
John,
it if you want to, or you can not say it. That's your choice. That's fine.
John, I believe what he's saying is that we had a bite at this apple, correct? Right? We voted on adding a member, whether non-voting or not. Neither got through. This would be the second bite, right? We're now coming back to the apple with a similar approach.
Oh,
I
so-
believe was where is the analogy. If that does that.
That makes it yes. I think that makes it a little bit clearer. You know what? That's fine. We have voted on things. Just want to point out that this commission has voted on items and then subsequently reversed itself on those items. So I think this actually is a great opportunity for us to reconsider this exact proposal, and I will make the motion for us to adopt recommendation number 7, as stated by council, with a term to be determined by this commission if it's adopted.
Okay, and I will we'll take the vote here, John, but just right. So this is for a non-voting member only. The other one we considered 2 options. This would allow the council to appoint through ordinance a non-voting only member. Let me sorry.
So if we are given an opportunity to discuss this, I just want to point out that I'm hard pressed to see how this appointment, should it be enacted through ordinance by the council, compromises the independence of the BET. It does not change the voting dynamic. It may compromise the privacy of the BET, but definitely not the independence.
Okay. No, I think we've discussed the concept of this quite a bit. So we will vote. John moved the item. Carl?
I just want to say the BET is not private. There's nothing about the BET that's private.
Well,
That's not completely true. The BET conducts its meetings according to its own rules. When you have a member of the body present, that member gets the same rights under those same rules as any other member. So under those rules, it's effectively a club, if you will, and this admits an additional member, albeit non-voting.
Holds
to the
public
club.
meetings. It did. Okay. Carl, your vote?
well, before I vote, I have a question though.
Sure.
I mean, it seems to me that in the last meeting, we spent a lot of time on this. It was the first thing on the agenda, I believe, or close to the top of it. And we voted clearly as a group to either give a member voting status, or for them to have a member without voting status. And now we're going back and voting on the same thing again?
It's the
Well, we just took half of it. The half that either all of us or somebody doesn't agree with, we're now bringing back up again to discuss and vote on, when we did that in the last meeting.
the difference with this. So last time we considered a voting or a non-voting member that the charter would have mandated, right? The charter would have created that member. What we're doing now is the modification here is we are allowing the council by charter through an ordinance to add a non-voting only member. So it's different than what we
So this
considered
would be
last
in the
time.
hands now of council to create an ordinance.
That is correct. We are a commission created by the council. The council has an interest in this issue. It is something that we have been asked to consider, and we will do that this evening. We'll do the vote. If people still don't want it, feel free to vote the same way. But that is to be clear, though, I mean, that is the distinction. There is a distinction from the last time.
But the council makes their own ordinances. Somebody brings up something, they work on it, they vote on it, and then it goes into law or it doesn't, blah, blah, blah. And now we're saying that we're voting on something to bless council to create an ordinance to do this, when we have no input on what ordinances council's going to do.
Steve?
But the mayor does have input. The mayor can veto an ordinance that comes out of the council. And then if the mayor vetoes the ordinance, the council has to override the veto. So there is a public process that would take place. And that was the theory of this, is that you're giving them authority to exercise their legislative authority to adopt an ordinance, but it does go through a public process, and the issue would be debated in that context. So it is different than the 2 approaches that we looked at last week, which would have created the position. There'd be no further dialogue. By doing the ordinance, it does invoke a new public process, and the mayor, who is also a member of the BET and the appointing authority of the BET, would have a role to play in determining whether he or she will veto that item or sign it into law. So there is a public process that this provision of the charter would trigger.
Okay, I mean, I hear you, and don't disagree with any of that because it's true, and you know more than I do. But the thing that sticks in my craw is that basically all we're doing is we're going back and saying, okay, council, we voted this way as charter people. Now we're gonna vote and say, however, we bless you, my son, to go ahead and do an ordinance on this if you so desire, but we don't have any, we gave you our feelings. We don't agree with either one, but if you want to make an ordinance, go for it.
Yeah.
All right.
it-
Okay.
Essential. I mean, it's again, the difference would be before we would have said the Norwalk City Charter now says there is either a voting or non-voting member of the council on the BET, right? That's required by
Right.
charter. Now, what's before us is that the council can create an ordinance. There would be a public process. The other part of it is if people feel passionately that you didn't like it the first time, feel free to vote no again. I find this to be more palatable than what we had considered before, but I understand if others did not.
I guess then I would say, and I understand, I don't want to belabor this, trust me. We should have done this last week. We should have said during those discussions, and we voted up and down, that however, there is an option that we can vote on, and we're not going to stand in your way if you want to go after this by making an ordinance.
Yep, fair enough.
Okay, all right.
Okay. So let's get, because we have to wrap up this one and then do the official 6 o'clock meeting and then, try to get in by 7. Well, I'd like to take the vote on this. So let me just get my notes. It's John made the motion. Carl, your vote?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Go for it.
John?
Yes.
Yes. Rick?
Rick, you're
Rick,
muted.
you're muted.
I'm still yes, even unmuted.
Rick? Yes. Ed?
I'm a no.
Ed is a no. Jim?
I'm also no.
Jim is a no. So I'm just going through my screen here. Joe?
Yes.
Is a yes. Tanya?
No.
Tanya's a no. I am a yes. So that gets us to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yes, 3 no. That motion passes.
The second item hopefully will not engender the same controversy as the first one. You remember I had 3 sections in the document that I was a little disappointed that I wasn't able to make changes on. Those are the old special act provisions. This is the one that is dealing with the controller in section 8-3 C1C Romanet 2, which simply takes out one sentence from the controller's responsibility, is they do not have that responsibility. I went over this with the CFO, and the recommendation is to delete item Romanet 2 from the responsibilities of the controller.
Attorney, can you read that sentence that's being taken out, please?
Yes, it's retention and upkeep of the complete books of records and accounts showing the financial conditions of the city and all financial transactions, including all districts of the city, but more especially those districts which are not under the supervision of the district commissioners as provided in this charter. And according to the complete books and records are already addressed elsewhere in the charter. They have no responsibility for dealing with any districts through the controller's office. So that's the reason for the deletion of the provision.
Thank you.
I'll move that, Tyler.
Okay. Rick has made a motion for item B. We'll go through the same order again. Carl?
And we're voting for or against.
For deletion of the provision.
Okay.
The
Yes.
motion from Rick is to approve the deletion.
Yes.
Carl's a yes. John?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Moved it. Ed?
Yes.
Jim.
Yes.
Okay. Joe.
Yes.
Yes. Tanya.
Yes.
Yes. I am a yes. That passes unanimously. Okay. I believe that was the last item we had for the 5:55 special meeting. Sorry, I'm just trying to pull the agenda back up.
Yep.
That was the last item. So we will, so what we're I guess doing, James, correct me if I'm wrong, is we're going to adjourn this meeting. It's the same link to join back, and then we'll use the 6 o'clock meeting agenda.
Correct.
Okay.
So
so
we
do have
just,
a-
we just leave this meeting.
we leave this meeting, click on the link, and come back in. So do we have a motion to adjourn the 5:55 meeting?
So move.
Okay. See you in a couple minutes.